Down that way, guys. Come on this way. Tallest in the back. Quiet. Come on, guys. You're taller than me.
Don't hang on a rope. All right, we getting the whole group up here? All right. My name's Eric. I'm going to talk to you about being a blacksmith, okay? 2 quick safety rules for you. The rope isn't heavy enough to hold you up, so as you get interested, don't lean forward on the rope because it could give away and I don't want you to get hurt, okay?
Okay.
Second thing is don't be helpful. I know your parents and teachers never say that to you, right? They always want you to be helpful. What I mean is if I drop something or if it falls on the ground back here, don't reach for it to hand it back to me, okay? I'll pick it up if I need it, but things can be really hot and I don't want you to grab something that's hot and get burned, okay? All right. So again, my name's Eric. We're talking about blacksmithing, or I'm a blacksmith. The reason I'm called a blacksmith is not because I'm all dirty, okay? That's not it. It's also not the black fuel that I'm burning in the fire or the smoke. It's because I make things out of iron and steel. Iron and steel, we heat them up in a fire, we hammer on them, we forge them, we change their shape, okay? Inside, iron and steel is black. Now, on the outside, it might get rusty. We could paint it, we could do other things to give it color, but inside, iron and steel is black. So that's why I'm called a blacksmith, okay? If I made silver jewelry, I'd be a silversmith, or if I made tin cups and saucers, I'd be a tinsmith. But it's the iron and steel that gives me the name blacksmith, all right? Now, I'm going to ask questions as I'm talking, and you guys can just shout out answers, all right? You don't have to raise your hand. If you guys have questions, I'll take those toward the end once I get through my presentation, okay? All right. Anybody know what the fuel is that I'm burning in my fire here?
Coal.
Coal, very good. What is coal? Where does it come from? How's it made? Comes out of mines. Yeah. Anybody heard of fossil fuels?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we believe science that tells us the Earth is millions of years old, then million-year-old plants and animals. They died, they got covered up with dirt. Instead of rotting away, it compressed down and turned into coal over millions of years. Okay? On the other hand, if we come from a Christian background and think the Earth's only 5,000 or 6,000 years old, then we're burning something that either God put there for us, maybe it developed during the Great Flood, but either way, it's a non-renewable resource. If we use up all our coal, we can't make more, right? So we do need to use our resources wisely. There's other fuels we could use and that have been used through history. We could use wood charcoal, so that's wood that's kind of charred and not completely burned up, right? It burns really quickly, though. We use a lot of it. Or we could use propane gas. So if you've watched any shows like Forged in Fire, that one's kind of popular lately, okay? Well, they have a lot of gas forges on there that have flames that shoot down from the top inside the box, like that one in there, okay? And so that's gas just like your propane grill at home will use these. We could even use electricity. There's lots of ways we can make the steel hot. Back through history, though, coal has been used quite a bit for blacksmithing, all right? My fire is in something here called a forge. That's what this piece right here is. Forges come in all shapes and sizes, different types throughout history, okay? But for a fire, we need a couple things, right? We need fuel, so we've got coal, and we need to add oxygen to it, okay? So I've got a blower here that sucks air in, puts it through this tube and up through the center of the fire. And when I do that, my fire will get over 2,500 degrees. We got a super hot fire going here, okay? My steel, the steel that I'm using, will burn up at about 2,000 degrees. So if I'm not careful, I can burn this piece of steel up. I'm going to try not to do that, but we'll take a look in here in a second and see just how hot this piece of steel is. A couple tools out of the way here. All right. So that was actually just starting to sparkle a little bit right at the end. That's about 1,800 or 1,900 degrees. That's so hot I can feel the heat coming off of it. That close, my hand gets a little uncomfortable. Okay? If I hid the orange part, back here where it's black, you might not think it's hot, right? Because it just doesn't even look hot.
All hot.
Well, that's still 900 degrees back there. Okay? You guys see that? So back here where it's black, that's like twice as hot as you cook a pizza in the oven. That's why when you came up, I said don't reach for something if it falls off my table. Okay? Because it might not look hot, it might still be very, very hot. So I'm going to heat this up and we'll start working on it. Okay? Anytime it change the shape of the steel, we need it to be orange. If it loses its heat, it loses its color, and it's black, it's still hot, but it's not flexible anymore. So anytime it loses that orange color, I'm going to heat it back up. We'll start working on a piece here and make something while we're talking. We talked about the fuel. We talked about the forge. What's this piece called?
An
anvil. And where have we seen one?
Minecraft,
right? Everybody plays Minecraft, yeah. Well, Minecraft's, 5, 6, 8 years old maybe. I'm a lot older than that, okay? I didn't have Minecraft as a kid,
Okay.
so I learned about these from Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner.
How did you?
Everybody know who they are?
Yes.
Yeah, if not, ask your parents tonight, okay?
Did you know about Minecraft? Because most my parents and stuff don't even know about Minecraft.
Well, I have a son
it's
that's
like a stupid old game.
yeah, I have a son that's a year older than you guys, so I know about Minecraft, okay? Well, Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner, it was a cartoon that was on when I was a kid. And there's a coyote named Wile E. Coyote. He wants to catch Roadrunner and eat him, okay? So he has got all kinds of crazy schemes, right? He's got roller skates and rockets and dynamite. And sometimes he takes an anvil. He goes out on the tight wire, he tries to drop it on Roadrunner. Yeah? Well, my anvil here weighs 147 pounds. More than you guys weigh, right? You're not going to pick that up and chase a bird with it.
No.
Nope, okay? We got a big heavy anvil because we want to change the shape of this steel. So when I bring that hot steel out, if I lay it on the ground and hit it, it just sinks into the ground, right? It doesn't really change shape. If I put it on some wood and hit it, it'll change shape a little bit, but mostly it sinks and burns into the wood. Over here, you think it's going to sink and burn into that?
No.
No, it's going to change shape, isn't it? Okay? Our anvil has lots of different shapes and different parts. There comes our rain again. But this right here is an important piece of equipment for a blacksmith, okay? Alright, so we're going to make sure our piece of steel's hot. And we'll start working on it. Alright, let's start making something. You guys can obviously see what I'm making, right? It's a leaf. Can't you tell?
No,
not really? Yeah, I got a little more work to do, don't I? Okay? Because I heard some of you guys say spear or arrowhead. Well, I could turn that into a spear or an arrowhead, right? But I'm going to make a leaf out of it. So to do that, I need to use a special blacksmithing technique that I learned a few years ago from a book. Okay, it's called the cow poop theory of blacksmithing. Alright, I got your attention now, right? So, a theory is a way of thinking about things. We're going to think about cow poop and hot steel, because they're kind of the same. Okay? Imagine that Farmer John's cow comes through here and leaves a big pile of cow poop out here, and one of you guys is ornery and goes and jumps on it with both feet. Which direction is the cow poop going to go?
Down.
No, the ground's underneath. Your feet are up. Which direction is the cow poop going to go?
Sideways.
Out in all directions from your feet, right? Okay? Well, instead, if you took a baseball bat or a stick and you hit the cow poop with it, which direction would it go? No, we got the stick coming down. Sideways, right? Squish out to the side. In blacksmithing, we use different hammers for different jobs.
Okay.
So if I'm making a spoon, I want to spread the steel away from the hammer in all directions. I'm going to use a round hammer like this one here. Okay? And if I hit hot steel with that, that's like your feet jumping on the cow poop. It spreads out in all directions. But if I'm making a leaf, maybe I want a wide, short leaf. Maybe I want a long, skinny leaf. If I'm making a knife or an arrowhead, I need to tell the steel, I want you to go this way, or I want you to go this way. Okay? So I'm going to use a hammer shaped like a baseball bat or a stick. Now if I take that and I hit some hot steel with it, if I hit like this, that's going to make it spread out this way. Or if I turn and go like this, that's like the stick hitting it, making it go that way. Okay? Cow poop theory of blacksmithing. Got it?
Got it.
Alright, I'm pretty sure it's on your quiz tomorrow, so make sure you remember it. You do have a quiz on this, right? Are you sure? I saw a teacher taking notes before. So.
I want to already take that quiz. I want a quiz.
I might be teasing.
I don't want to.
But at least tell your parents about it tonight. They'll be really proud of what you learned at Pioneer Days. Alright. So we're going to heat this up and we're going to use that, what's it called? Cow poop theory of blacksmithing. We're going to use that to spread out and make a wide leaf here. Okay? So here we go. Let's make it wide. tried to shoot a basket, you probably didn't make it, right? First time I tried to make a leaf, I didn't make a leaf. It didn't look very good. Okay? Now, is that a leaf yet? Kinda. More detail, that's right. More detail. Blacksmithing's been around forever, okay? Pretty much beginning of time. At least, once people started recording their history, they talked about blacksmiths. So I know some of you guys are from St. Joseph's, right? Okay? Well, I come from a Christian background too. So if we read the Bible, very first book of the Bible, Genesis, chapter 4, 22, talks about a man called Tubal-Cain. They said he made things out of iron and steel. Okay? Or iron and bronze, actually. So that means he was a blacksmith. Or Greek and Roman history from like social studies class. In ancient Greece and Rome, they thought that there were all these gods in charge of all different things. Okay, so they said there was a right, but back in time they didn't understand that. So they thought there was a god for the ocean and a god for love and a god for war, and they thought that there was a head god named Zeus. Okay, and they didn't understand science. So when there was a thunderstorm, they thought Zeus was angry and he was throwing lightning bolts at people. Right? Well, they thought there was a god in charge of blacksmithing that made Zeus's lightning bolts and that made the gates for Mount Olympus and things like that. What that tells us is throughout history, blacksmiths have been really important to their society. The reason for that is blacksmiths made the tools that all the other craftsmen needed. So if you were a stone carver making statues and carvings and buildings, who made your hammers and chisels for you? Blacksmith, right? What if you're a farmer and you need plows and rakes and hoes and shovels? Blacksmith, okay. If you're a warrior, you need armor and weapons. Blacksmith made those, right? So throughout history, blacksmiths were super important. Even when Nebraska was becoming a state. I know some of you guys are studying Nebraska history, right? Okay. Have you seen my picture on the state flag? No, yes? Yeah, there's a blacksmith on the Nebraska state flag, right? Yeah. So even when Nebraska became a state, blacksmithing was still that important to society. Instead of a farming, picture or something like that, they put a blacksmith on the state flag. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's get this made into a leaf here.
It's a volcano.
Poop theory of blacksmithing, that was kind of like a baseball bat on the bottom, wasn't it? So it helped me spread that out and make a long, skinny tip on the leaf.
Now it kind of doesn't look like a leaf.
Kind of doesn't?
Nope.
Oh, let's make it back into a leaf.
You gotta twist it like this. Because it takes stuff home that you make.
Unfortunately, it takes me so long to make something that I can't make enough for everybody. Okay? But if you're interested, you can look at my website. I sell things through there. We'll be out here on Saturday for the Harvest Festival. Well, my website, my last name is Klaus. Kind of like Santa Claus, but with a K. Okay, so Klaus Creation. What do you think? Leaf?
No, kind of like this.
Pumpkin? Hershey's Kiss?
It looks like an Hershey's Kiss.
Hershey's Kiss?
Yeah.
All right, let's get it into a leaf here.
I think it looks like one of Donald Trump's hairs. Good job, Ryan. Good job. Ryan's over there. Oh my gosh, look at Grayson's hair. Oh my god. Hey, what? What are you doing?
So I said blacksmiths make a lot of tools, right?
Yeah.
Well, we make a lot of our own tools, too. We make a clamp to hold it down so we can use two hands for other tools.
So you made the decorations? Yep. You did on this one. Yep. You're making
Making the veins in the leaf.
there's a leaf right in
I'm trying to remember from 4th grade last year when my son was in 4th grade, there's all different kinds of veins, right? There's web veins. Maybe you guys haven't gotten to that part yet, but
And now it just looks like a Hershey's Kiss to a Christmas tree. It looks like a Christmas tree.
getting to be a leaf?
Because it's a little curve at the What are you doing? I thought it was.
guys, I've kind of talked about the things I wanted to talk about. What blacksmithing questions do you guys have? Yeah.
How long does it take to make a sword?
A sword, probably anywhere from 2 days to a week. Maybe more. Depends on how much detail you put into it.
A sword?
Yeah.
Wait, I never put it.
I've not made a sword. I've made some knives, but even a knife is going to take a good bit of time if you're going to do a good job at it.
Why do you do that? Just to make it the shape. How do you get it up like that? It's because that.
All right. So now our leaf has a little bit of a curl to it. Okay.
I just got some of the leaf because that curve at the top.
Some leaves have a curve at the top.
That looks like a leaf.
Let's do a quick finishing thing to it. So I might turn this into a wall hook.
Like a wizard one. How do you get it up?
So you see the hook on the table there? Okay, hold on. See the hook on the table there? Yeah. So I could make it into that. I could cut the leaf off and make a keychain or a necklace. Lots of different things I could do with that. Okay. When I'm all done, I might want to give it some color. So what I'm going to do is cool it just a little bit, and then I've got a brass brush that'll melt some of the brass onto it. Now it's got a little bit of color.
Oh, that's where the golden thing came from.
Okay? And remember, this is bright orange. It was like 1800 degrees a little bit ago. I'm going to cool it off here. We can pass it around and take a look at it. Okay? Not hot anymore. Okay? I'll start it over here. You guys can pass it around and take a look at it. Okay? While you're passing that around from that direction, this is coal. This is what coal looks like. Okay? So you can pass that around, but don't put it in your pocket. Take it
Yeah,
home.
why do your parents say you're always going to get coal for Christmas because you're naughty, but it's actually chocolate?
Well, this definitely isn't chocolate. Okay?
Better not try to eat it.
All right. So somebody mentioned the Harry Potter wand over here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, for a Harry Potter wand or for a post for our fence or railing or something like that, we might want some decoration in it. So I'm going to heat up the next little section here, and I'm going to put some decoration in it, okay?
Oh, wow. That's big.
Fourth grade.
How long did it take?
Brian. Bye, guys.
How long did it take to make that?
So each group that's been coming up throughout the day, I've been doing one little section in it, okay? So if I was doing them at home, I'd probably do it a little quicker and use more tools to make more twists at the same time. But basically this piece has taken me about 2 days to make because of all the little twists in it.
How do you make it?
Well, you're about to find out.
I really want to have like that one. Like that wizard one. That kind of big.
You guys have any other blacksmithing questions I can answer for you? No? Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
About 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I started about the time you guys were born.
Oh, that's I'm 9.
Sorry? It kind of does, yeah. Especially if the wind blows and I inhale a lot of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it kind of blows away, but yeah, it's not something you want to breathe in all the time.
Well, that's cool. How much money?
Well, it depends on what I make and what I sell, okay? So a good answer for that is if I make one thing at a time, okay? Hey guys, listen up. If I make one thing at a time, I don't make very much money at it, okay? Because it takes me a long time to make one thing. So sometimes in the summer, I camp out with guys that dress up like mountain men and dress up like Civil War guys. They go to festivals and do this. And so they want things that look old time for their camps, right? They want authentic old time stuff. So I make tent stakes for them because they don't want little cheap plastic tent stakes from Walmart. They want big, heavy-duty, old-fashioned tent stakes. Well, if I'm doing that, I make 4 or 5 tent stakes at one time. Because if I make one at a time, and it takes me 15 minutes, but I only charge $4 for that tent stake, I didn't make very much money, right? But if I can make 5 of them in 15 minutes, now I'm making a little bit better money, right?
How much money do you get?
How much do I get paid? Depends on what I make. So like the little,
What's the cross?
so for instance, the snakes on the table over there, those are $20. A cross like this, I've got 3 different sizes. They're $10, $20, and $30. But a rose takes me about 2.5 hours. So those I get a little bit more money for, right? I get about $90 or $100 for those. No, 90
Do people
or 100.
actually buy those? Oh.
Yeah. I actually had somebody buy a dozen roses for his wife for their anniversary.
How much money does that take?
Well, take 100 times 12.
So that's not there.
Yeah. All right, let's get this piece twisted here, okay?
What's the twist, guys?
So when this steel's hot, it moves just like clay. This side over here is pretty hard, right? Okay, but over here, okay, just move it around, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wrench on it. Okay, it's a little bit low, so we'll straighten that out. Brush that off so it looks nice.
It's on fire.
Okay, it is very hot yet, so I'm not going to pass it around. How many edges does my steel have on it?
Still have about the same
4, right? It's not a trick question. How many lines do we see right here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Between that flat spot and this flat, right? 4 times. 4 edges. So how many times did I twist that around?
2, 6, 8, 2.
4 corners. 1. I went 1 time around and that twisted it once so we see each edge of the steel, right? Now if we come up here, between this flat spot and this flat spot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many times did I twist it around?
1.5.
1.5. Ah! So we can use a little bit of math in blacksmithing, can't we? Yeah, we can use math every day. I got to get a plug in there for math, right? All right. Let's see. What else can we do real quick? How about sort of blacksmithing related, but sort of general related, okay? Back throughout history, before we had matches and torches, there are lots of different ways to start a fire, but what are some ways you could start a fire? Shout them out. Rub 2 pieces of wood together, right? Good answer, right? So there's lots of ways, but what I'm going to show you is something called flint and steel, okay? So it's on Minecraft, right? So here's real life though, okay? This is a piece of steel, it's very hard, it's an old spring from an old piece of farm equipment, and flint is a rock that is very hard. Native Americans used to make arrowheads and knives and stuff out of it, okay? So if I have a hard piece of flint with a sharp edge, and I take my piece of steel, and I scrape it past that rock at just the right angle, I can get sparks, okay? And that piece is getting kind of worn out, the edges are getting broken off, I need to redo it. Okay, so we can get sparks off of that, okay? So now if I could catch those sparks on a good charred piece of cloth here, a good black piece, that is very fragile, so it may just break apart on me. But if I am lucky enough to catch that, well, they're hot, but they burn out really quickly.
You're probably so used to it.
And so what we got to do is we got to catch those on that cloth just right. Now I'm kind of struggling with it today because for one thing, it's raining, and so even my cloth here is a little bit damp from the humidity in the air. Okay, so you can see it's not easy. All right, but it can be done because we can get good sparks off there. We just got to get them to land in the right place. Okay. So that's one way we could start a fire, for a campfire, for a forge, whatever. But you can see real life is a little bit more difficult than Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
Anybody remember the old cartoon Mulan?
Yeah.
Yeah? So there's a scene in there where Mulan charges toward the enemy and sticks a rocket in the snow because she's going to shoot this rocket up and knock all the snow down on the enemy, right? And so she sticks the rocket in the snow and she goes, and the rocket lights off, right? little bit tougher than that, isn't it? A little bit tougher to get a fire started with flint and steel, but it can be done.
In Minecraft,
Okay?
all you have to do is like kick buttons.
Yep. Right. Well, real life, things take a little work and a little practice, right? So one of the questions some people ask is blacksmithing hard? Sure, it's hard, but it gets easier. The more you do it, the easier it gets, right? The more you practice anything, the easier it gets. Okay? What other questions do you guys have?
In Minecraft, like, do you play Minecraft?
I've played it a little bit.
It's fun.
It is kind of fun.
So have you heard of the guy called Hero Brian?
No.
Okay, so Hero Brian, me and my brother were playing on the same server, and Hero Brian steals some of our stuff.
Okay.
So a creeper killed me, and like in my house, like because Wyatt just opened the door and then came up behind him and blew up both of us.
And the blacksmith came and saved the day?
No.
No? Oh, I was waiting for the moral of the story there.
I dropped my enchanted diamond sword, and OMG, it was just so bad. He stole it. So me and Wyatt were like, we're not safe in Minecraft anymore. We're deleting.
Time to move?
We're deleting.
Okay. All right. So I got one quick question here yet, maybe two.
How much was it? Harry Potter one cost?
I get $15 for those. All right. One more question?
What made you want me to play?
Well, that's a good question. I had a grandpa that was a blacksmith, and it's just something I was always interested in. So about 10 years ago, I took a class, and I just kind of got started that way.
On
Okay.
Minecraft or